And the thing is, to me, it still seems like Stone Age technology, and to say that they were more advanced than we are today is very disheartening to me. Compared to our engineering and our medical advances and our transportation advances, when I look at ancient Egypt, it just seems like Stone Age technology to me. And that's, really all I've got. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Well,
okay.
We're not used to things made out of stone being high-level technology, and when you say our advances in transportation, I think teleportation is pretty advanced. It's the way we're looking at it, and I'm wondering if you're looking at the whole picture, because they had some pretty cool stuff that didn't last the 5,000 years and certainly hasn't come into our consciousness. So the jury's still out on that, Mike.
Carmen, if you could get one question answered about what you've been studying and researching over all these years, just one, what would it be?
Okay, the transmutation of the atom. How exactly did that work? Because the cities involved manifestation, alchemy, bilocation. I mean, science fiction is really science. I'd like to know a little bit more about how that worked. The Vedic texts describe it, but I'm convinced that the ancients were using it. So how did that work would be my question.
Good point. Next up, we go to first-time caller, Lawrence in El Paso. Lawrence, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of this show. It's awesome to be on here. Well, this lady is very intelligent, so my question won't be too intelligent, I guess. But I was wondering if anybody had actually dug underneath the pyramid, if they actually found the solid base at the bottom. Or, I have a theory that maybe, it's double-sided. It's not just, from the bottom, from the sand up, but actually goes down deep. So I was, listening to how she was saying that there are other passages and tunnels down underneath certain areas. So I guess I don't know if that's just my main question, sorry, but thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Lawrence. You know what? There's a pit at the bottom of the Great Pyramid, and there has been some excavations that were requested to be done. Of course, it's flatly refused by the Department of Antiquities, and what they generally do is they collect people's proposals and say yes and lead them along, and then at the very end they say no, and 2 years later they come out with their own research about it. But this business about what's underneath and whether it's etheric or whether it's real, whether they're ever going to report on it or what's down there is a big, big question. But I have to say that when we did our filming inside the pit, there are extra passageways in there that were not there years ago, because I spent, many, many hours in the pit by myself, and I'm pretty familiar with what was in there. I think what you're referring to is the inverted pyramid that's like the Merkabah. And what we have to understand, because the Egyptian work, it's not just the stone. And because we're talking about levels of consciousness, there is a lot that exists on the etheric plane. And that's what we're picking up on about it, even though you haven't been to Egypt, I'm guessing. So, yes, I think that energetically that is correct, Lawrence.
And when's your next trip to Egypt?
Actually, to tell you the truth, after all these years, since I'm a little girl, I'm not planning another trip, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Really. It doesn't mean I'm not going to end up there. Because I feel like it's in the can. We've got the footage. There's something resolved, mission accomplished. I'm not running back there. And you know what? It's difficult there. And I was wearing rose-colored glasses and I suppose being protected, but it's rough. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on there. And
is it safe?
Well, I've had safe things happen and unsafe things happen. I'm not I'm not scared of terrorists or any of that. It's just more the wear and tear and the pollution and the craziness and the fact that I think I'm done.
All done.
Maybe. Yep.
Okay, very good. Next up, we go to San Francisco. We've got Max. Hey, Max, go ahead.
Thank you. Your knowledge is very impressive. And basically, you were talking about how dumbed down we are. We sure are in this era. So the question is, Andrew Thomas wrote a 1971 book, We Are Not the First, which says Einstein was taken to task when he mentioned that his relativity theories were really something he just rediscovered from antiquity. That's the first thing I want to ask about. And second, this concept of carbon-14 and how things are dated, can you actually, I'm sure you can, explain the dating process? Because, for example, like the Shroud of Turin keeps coming up with several different dates, as well as the destruction of Thera in Greece. You know, I've read 4 or 5 different dates for that. So I'll take my answers off the air. Thanks very much.
Oh, thank you, Max. It's a very good question. Now, the problem with carbon-14 is it can get contaminated very easily with somebody's finger or anybody touching it. And there was a scientist conference, actually, where I met Zachariah Sitchin, and they were talking about dating techniques. And they did an experiment where they took one carbon sample, and they sent it to 14 different labs, and they came up with 14 different dates. It is notoriously incorrect, and it's one of the ways. The other thing is that the older something is, the more inaccurate carbon-14 is. Now, there are some new dating techniques, but nothing's going to really date something to 50,000 BC, except perhaps archaeoastronomy. So if you go and really do some research on carbon-14, you're going to find that it fails miserably, and this Shroud of Turin is an example where you get a lot of different dates. So we are not the first. Nikola Tesla didn't invent, he remembered, or picked up on something that the ancients already knew. And so, yep, we're dumbed down, and we're not the smartest we've ever been, and this information is somewhere out there, and it's for us to connect back in. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, we go to Maywood, New Jersey. Steve, you're up with us. Hey, Stephen.
George, pleasure.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve. Sure.
I have plans to build a pyramid myself.
How big?
I've been working on for about 8 years. I'm just trying to get the finances now, and I just wonder if you have any tips. I'm going to use a 52-degree pitch, and I'm building it for the purpose of showing it, to use it for clinics or hospitals to help people heal better.
Oh, okay. Well, make sure it's aligned. I know that they've built some pyramids in Edmonton as an agricultural exhibit, and they made sure they were not aligned because they were afraid of what would happen. I'm curious about the 52-degree pitch because you'll see that there are pyramids at 51.5 degrees, 53.5 degrees. If you look at Dashur and the red pyramid at Dashur, the Great Pyramid, and the second pyramid, I don't think any of them are going to come up at 52 degrees. So you can do some research to find out about that. And if it's about healing, you might want to examine how the pyramids are aligned by studying some of the books out there. So good luck with it. Sounds great.
So what do you think Zahi will say of your theories?
They're all nonsense, of course. Absolutely 100% nonsense is what he'll say.
He's protecting.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He is a perfect example of a patriarch who is insisting on control. You know, he may be a nice guy on the sidelines, but these are World Heritage sites, and they're not protecting what needs to be protected, but they're sure holding people back from making honest discoveries. And that's just not right. Nothing happens in Egypt without Zahi's permission. And even with Zahi's permission, the watchmen are, no, you don't have the permission, you can't get in. What permission is a bill that you pay them for still getting hassled and not being allowed to do what you're going to do. I could do a whole show on just that.
Are they petrified of him?
No. Well, I mean, he's listening, so most people have an opinion. But he's not considering what the people in the village around the pyramids need. Nothing is about helping humanity or helping people. It's all about power and control and money. And that's not right with something as precious as this information.
Is that why he's so rigid about every theory out there, unless it's Egyptian?
Yeah, the answer is no. I mean, there's people who say no to everything. I'm right, you're wrong, the end. But there's got to be something in the middle, and there's got to be discussion. Or let me hear what you have to say. You know what I'm saying? You have ears blocked, eyes closed. No. It's a pretty locked, shut case.